Hello again. My name is Pia Prana Muggerud. I'm a counselor, coach, facilitator, trainer, and I especially love to work with women who identify as good girls. So I work with women with good girl syndrome. And, when I mention the good girl, there's always this immediate response like there's the opposite, which is the bad girl. And so today I actually want to talk about the opposite of good girl is actually not a bad girl. And in order to do that, I want to go way, way back in time. When I was a little girl, I was absolutely captivated by the movie Grease. I don't know how many times my poor parents had to take me to the cinema. I may have been 10, and but I was absolutely obsessed. Now, it wasn't John Travolta who stole my heart, this greasy guy in all black and leather, but it was actually Olivia Newton John, the actress who portrayed Sandy. And although she's now passed away, I think she passed away last year, but somehow, certainly for me, Sandy will always, forever be connected to the summer season through her iconic role as the good girl turned bad, Sandy, in my world at least, the classic musical Grease. Now, I think it was back in 1978, and in that musical, Olivia Newton John, she starred as Sandy, and she was kind of like the girl next door type, and she had a very sort of caring, innocent demeanor. She, she wouldn't say a peep to anybody. She was very careful, shy, but over the summer, she fell in love. And Sandy's wardrobe in itself, okay, so this is going back, I think it was set in the late 50s, perhaps. And her wardrobe consisted of sweaters, long, big skirts, neatly pulled up back hair, probably some turtlenecks even, so we don't want to show too much skin here, right? She spoke kindly to everybody. I wouldn't imagine that she ever uttered a negative word to anybody. And over the course of the summer, everything changed when she fell in love with Danny, this rebellious greaser. And the thing with the movie is that over the summer it was just the two of them, and they could just be themselves. Obviously, Sandy fell in love with somebody a little bit more dangerous, but also Danny fell for this sweet girl as well. And by the end of the summer, supposedly they were going to go their separate ways. And yet, next thing you know, first day of school, and Sandy is there at Danny's school. And because he was a cool dude, he suddenly wasn't ready to be as loving and sweet towards Sandy as he had been over the summer, because he had a certain image to portray. Anyway, we see throughout the movie that, Sandy tries to do a bit of smoking. That didn't really work because it just wasn't her thing. But at the end of the film, which is kind of at the end of the school year, good girl Sandy transformed into bad girl Sandy. She traded these ankle-length skirts and prim hairstyle for skin-tight black pants and a perm. And this evolution, it resonated with, audiences worldwide as it tapped into our desire for love and acceptance, and also, of course, to fit in. And fitting into, humans are community driven, right? We don't really make it in the, we wouldn't make it in the world on our own. So that being accepted by our peers and by our community is very important. And many would even recognize themselves in the situation where you fall in love and then you find yourself, I'll do anything for that love. So whilst it's evident that Sandy undergoes this complete transformation to make herself more attractive to Danny. And at the time, that was actually super exciting to me. I mean, of course, I was just a kid. But it's just like, I loved Sandy already, but then she turned into this other curly haired, black from head to toe. It was so exciting. Wow. I even remember that I went to a dress up party, again as a kid, where I dressed up as Sandy, and I didn't dress up as good girl Sandy. I dressed up as her in black. But now, the deeper understanding I have now as an adult, as a counselor, having worked with individuals for 20 something years, I see that I don't believe that the opposite of good girl is a bad girl. Instead, the opposite of good girl is an authentic, mature, courageous woman who's undertaken the inner work necessary for personal growth. And when I say mature woman, that doesn't mean that you have to be of a certain age. I mean a woman of depth, a woman who knows herself, right? So this woman, this mature woman I'm talking about, breaks free from the deep-rooted conditioning of conformity and learns to assert herself. Not in the way she dresses or with the hairstyle or doing it for some boy or some man. Doing it for herself. This woman knows that it's actually her right to choose her own needs first. Good girls tend to let others' needs go ahead of her own needs, right? And this mature woman, she claims her true voice, setting strong boundaries, saying yes when she means yes, no when she means no. And this woman embraces her independence to navigate her world on her own terms. And she ultimately learns to love herself first. Yeah, most importantly. And of course, all these little steps along the way comes to the ultimate destination, which is loving yourself. And I want to just find this quote here. Let me find it. There's a wonderful writer, amongst other things. Her name is Sark. Here it is. And she wrote in one of her books, she wrote, being tame is what we're taught. Put the crayons back, stay in line, don't talk too loud, keep your knees together. Nice girls don't ... You fill in the blanks, right? Nice girls don't speak up. Nice girls don't put themselves first. Nice girls are seen and not heard. And the list goes on. And she continues, as you might know, nice girls do, and they like to feel wild and alive. Being tame feels safe. Being wild and unsafe does not. Yet safety is an illusion anyway. We are not in control. No matter how dry and tame and nice we are, we will die and we will suffer along the way. Living wild is its own reward. And so living wild is possible when you know your authentic self. Yeah. Living wild is possible when you don't have to filter every thought, every action, everything you're considering through the filter of, is this okay for others? Am I going to be accepted by others, right? That's really what Sark talks about being wild. Because when you're a good girl, we stay stuck in a box, right? And So this wildness being a reward in itself is being able to moment know what feels right for you, not the control of the box, but you've done enough work that you feel yourself and you know what's true for yourself. And it's kind of the opposite of being domesticated, because good girls certainly are domesticated. So therefore, the journey to move away from being a good girl must begin with your genuine desire to shed the layers of untruths that were created by early life conditioning, and also by generational patriarchal conditioning that limited your potential as a girl, as a woman. So for some, that process may involve healing from past traumas that triggered a stress response rooted in people pleasing and self neglect. And that, so you might have heard of fight, flight, freeze, but the stress response that's rooted in people pleasing and self neglect is called fawning. And all these responses are natural reactions to stress and danger. And with fawning representing excessive people-pleasing tendencies. And fawn types seek safety by prioritizing the wishes, the needs, and the demands of others. And it's also not conscious half the time, right? Now, for others, it might be that you break free from any social expectations. The whole, oh, that's a good girl, that many of us grew up with when we were little. And then really start embracing what are your true passions, your desires, and without apology. Yeah. And for many of us, we don't know that. We're like, well, what are my true passions? What do I really desire? Maybe that's before you can even embrace those, you've got to figure out what they are. And perhaps that means you've got to explore, you've got to experiment, figure out what those things are. Each woman's journey will be unique, but the common thread is going to be the pursuit of self-discovery and ultimately authenticity. So if you're ready to embark on a path toward authenticity and embrace the real version of yourself, after this video, perhaps your first step is to take a moment to really reflect on your path. What's the first and second step that you need to take, you personally? Is it setting boundaries? Is it exploring your passions? Maybe it's healing from past wounds, neglect, or trauma. But really to embrace your essence. What is deeply true to yourself? And only you holds the answer to that. So with this, I want to say thank you for you being here and listening to this video. There are plenty other videos in my channel, and it's growing by the day. So I would love to hear what was valuable for you in this latest video. Maybe some truth triggered you. Maybe some untruths triggered you. I would love to hear what those things are. From my heart to yours, I wish you a beautiful rest of your day and see you in the next video. Bye for now.